All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode on the Bodybuilding News Network. As always, I am your host, Sanch Bodybuilding. Thank you so much for checking out this channel and checking out my coverage of specifically the men's 212 division at this year's 2021 Romania Pro Muscle Fest. So consider subscribing if you guys want to see more content like this on this channel. But let's go ahead and get into the scorecard. We have right off the top of the bat, we have Babak Akbarniya. I think that's pretty close. Kind of a cool guy. But before we get into that, if you guys want to check out Rari Nutrition, it's the title sponsor for the coverage of the show and my sponsor. So if you guys want to check them out, do so. Sanch20 and Ninja Viking Apparel. It is a old school lifting clothing company. Check them out. Code bodybuilding if you guys want to save some money. They have really cool lifting shoes, similar to the other big name brands, but only around $60 on Amazon. So if you're in the market, definitely check them out. I definitely recommend the red shoes, and I know they're coming out with purple ones soon. So I'm waiting for those. But let's go ahead and talk about Babak. And from what I'm able to find, the last time we saw Babak on stage was in 2019 at the New Zealand Pro. So one of those cool shows that we weren't able to see these last couple of years because of the different restrictions. Also, there's another guy in here, the Ireland Pro. I think that's pretty cool. A lot of interesting pro shows that if you're new to bodybuilding, as I am, you're not going to know too much about those shows. So very exciting. This guy, honestly, really impressive physique, great conditioning. And back in 2018, we can take a look at his Instagram to get an idea of what to expect from his physique coming into this show. And it looks like he's been able to maintain the same amount of size. He's doing looks like a gorilla wear photo shoot here. Great conditioning, great separation. The feathering in the delts is always something I think is kind of cool. But overall, a good physique. Not really sure where we're going to find him in the placings. I'll do a prediction video. I have an actual lineup put together of where I think people are going to place. So stay tuned for that. But Babak is going to be our first competitor. Our next competitor is Abdulrahman Al Khashti. I think I got that one pretty close. And taking a look at Abdul, maybe it's Abdul, but the full name Abdul Rahman. The last time we saw him on stage was at the Egypt Pro, the KO Squad Pro Show. And he was actually in this photo standing next to another competitor that we're going to see on stage here. Actually, no, he was at the Evogen show. Looks pretty good. Not a great shot for him with the separation in the quads. Wasn't relaxed, or he was actually very relaxed, not contracting it as much. I wasn't able to actually find his NPC news card profile, so I do apologize for that. So we can't get a good idea of where we've seen him in the past besides the Prague Pro. But overall, you can look at this photo here from October 15th. Great fullness, amazing legs. I think you'd be surprised if he landed anywhere outside that. And the next competitor is Radoslav Angelov. We've actually seen him again recently at the Prague Pro, the Evils. But one of those guys, normally he's going to be in that first call out. I like what I saw from him at the Prague Pro. Great separation, conditioning, just an overall very complete package. I think, in my opinion, this is going to be a top 6 physique at this show for the Romania. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not, but let me know down below how you guys are feeling about Radoslav Angelov at this year's Romania Pro. No introduction needed here on this one. Ahmad Ashkanani, he won the Prague Pro in the 212. Somewhat controversially, in my opinion. I thought that he was definitely a shoe-in for second place, but the judges wanted that big mass look that Ahmad has. And in all reality, I think it's a good chance that he's going to win this show as well. But saying that, there is another competitor that recently placed higher than him at the Mr. Olympia. Now, obviously, the judges can only judge what is in front of them. So prediction videos like these are kind of interesting because we're judging what we've seen before and not what is going to be presently available for the judges. So keep that in mind. But I definitely think Ahmad Ashkanani is going to be battling it out for the win or a 1-2 placing at this year's Romania Pro. Next on the scorecard, a new guy for me, a new fan made, is Jafar Ghaffarnezhad. I'm sure it's not said like that, but he is also going to be competing on this show. He looks like a pretty big fella. I'll definitely be interested to see how he comes in shape this year. Based off some of the photos I have of him from previous shows and previously on his Instagram, we can tell that honestly he gives me like a Naser El Somebody vibe with the structure and even like the eyebrows and the head shaping, very reminiscent of the greats of old. Great legs, small midsection for the most part, great arms, shoulders, just a very well-rounded physique. And this was from the 2018 I think it's the Fiji Pro is what they called it. So another one of those cool shows we didn't get to see in the last couple of years. And also on his Instagram, he posted a really cool photo with him with that dream tan that you normally don't see a lot of. And it's such a cool look. It gives you like that modern, like sculpture look. And I think it's a very cool way of presenting your physique. So another competitor competing at this year's Romania Pro. One of the favorites to do very well at this show is Pasquale D'Angelo. Now, he qualified last year, winning the one of those European shows, either the Big Pro, the Big Man Weekend, or the Portugal or the Spain. It was one of those. And then he went into the Olympia, didn't really place where I thought he was going to, but definitely a physique to look out for in this lineup. I think he's going to be landing around that 3, maybe 5. Really going to depend on how everyone else shows up and how he shows up as well. But historically, D'Angelo has been one of those guys that always comes in shape. He's not really blown out anywhere, and he is getting up there in age. He's still competitive though, but he definitely brings, like I talked about in my last contest prediction video, he brings a nice and pleasant classic look to the 212, and I very much enjoy it. I would like to see him smile a little bit more, like, or maybe just like have like more confidence. I know the last show that I significantly remember was when he flew into the Puerto Rico Pro, and he had to compete in the Open, and he wasn't too happy about that one. So that kind of like left that image of him being like disappointed in himself for not making weight or not making, I think it was the time. He didn't make it in time for the weigh-in for 212. But that guy, honestly, a favorite to do very well at the show, at least get lots of points for next year's qualification. Now, the man of the hour, the person that I think is going to win this show, Angel Calderon Frias, or is it the other way around? Calderon Frias. Now, usually just goes by Angel Calderon. He placed 4th at this last year's Mr. Olympia, which is insane. And if my memory serves me right, that means that he's already qualified. So he's just going here for money, and he's going here to just show people that, hey, like, it wasn't a fluke. I'm serious. Like, I am something to be regarded as very competitive. Now, this guy ran the circuit last year, won like 4 shows. Nobody had any problem with him doing 4 shows, but as soon as Nathan Diasha does 3-4 shows, everyone starts losing their minds. So that's just a little tangent. He's my favorite to win this show. He's my pick. Amazing physique. We saw him at the Olympia, and then we saw him all over the European circuit last year. Roman Iushchenko. I'm sure that's not even close. Now, this guy, another one of those newer guys for me. I haven't seen him too much on the tubes or the gram. But we can look at his, I think it's the 2018 or 2019 Romania Pro. Really nice, beautiful, flowing physique, great structure, rocking a fantastic vacuum. You can tell by some of his most recent physique updates. Well, he's kind of just standing there in a t-shirt, but you can tell that he's in shape, got great arms, great shoulders. He's in shape. I think he's going to be someone that is going to surprise a lot of people. And I believe if I check my notes, I'm not going to tell you, but he might be in my top 6 prediction. Another competitor is going to be Meysham Keshvari. Now, this guy goes by the Iranian Tank on Instagram, and he's one of the competitors that was unable to compete at the KO Squad Pro show for the visa issue because he's from Iran. You know, it's unfortunate that people are being denied their ability to compete and provide a living for their family because of where they're from. But it is what it is. That's not my platform. I think he's going to be very competitive. The way his physique updates on Instagram are looking very impressive. The side tricep shot is freaky. So honestly, guys, if he brings any type of conditioning similar to this shot, or even some of his older shows, pictures from the 2012 New York Pro, very long time ago, but if he brings anything like that, I think he's going to be very competitive. And I had him in the top 6, I believe, for the KO Squad Pro, but unfortunately he couldn't compete. So one of those guys to keep a lookout for. Very impressive. Next up is Zoran Kolevsky. I think I got that one right. That was pretty close. And the last time we saw him was at the I believe it's the 2020 Europa Spain, or the whatever they want to call it, the Europa Pro Championships, I think is what they called it, in Spain, not the Dallas Europa. But very impressive package. I believe he was around 8th place, I think is what they put him at. Just great structure. He could bring in the midsection a little bit because he's not super wide that he can have such a blocky midsection. So hopefully he could kind of bring that in over the last year and make improvements, and then really shock some people here at the Romania Pro. But that's just a quick critique. Great arms, decent chest, and then also fantastic legs, as most of the 212 guys have phenomenal leg development in the quad sweep. I guess I thought that when I read this next guy, Peter Kovac, I thought it was, I was like, man, that sounds really familiar. But that's because there was a guy back in the day named Kovacs. Very different person. And unfortunately not too, what do you want to say, active on Instagram. He's put out some posts here from October, but really the last time we saw him was he was talking about winning his pro card back in 2019. From this photo, I thought he looked really good, but it's just really hard to tell, what level of conditioning or structure we're going to see from this guy. It's been a few years, and just not a lot of marketing for us to really see what's going on with his physique. So he will also be competing. Another guy, I do apologize, I couldn't find Ching-Chieh Lin. Could not find his Instagram, so I do apologize for that. But it looks like he is a classic physique guy switching over into the 212. And honestly, when we look at, how do you say this in a politically correct way, in the Asian bodybuilding market, especially when you look at like Korea, these guys have great genetics to build the quads, is what I've kind of seen across the board almost, especially in the 212 guys, is their legs get so over dominant that it actually shadows the sometimes really nice structure of the midsection and the upper body. So I don't know if that's going to be the situation for Lin here, but he was very aesthetic in this photo that we have here. So I'll be very interested to see what kind of size he's been able to put on. But again, that leg looks phenomenal. Now, no one needs introductions here for Nasser Mohammed. We've seen him compete several times over the last, I'd say, 2 years. He was very prominent in the Europe tour, or the European tour, competing at a lot of different shows. He competed at the Mr. Olympia recently, did very well in that top 10. Great physique, very bubbly, and especially from the back. I know I don't really show a lot of back shots in these videos, but just a phenomenal bodybuilder. If I check my notes, I do have him placing very well at this show. So stay tuned for that video. But definitely a favorite, guys. So don't be sleeping on Nasser. Oh, and his Instagram is actually different. It's Nasser Saeed. So it kind of throws you off when you're trying to look up Naser Mohamed. But it's just something I found. But I have all the Instagram tags in the descriptions, so you guys can follow along with me as I do these videos. One of the more classic looking guys, really clean lines, is Thomas Ruggins. And like I said, guys, really clean lines. I like his physique. I'm not sure how competitive he's going to be in this lineup. It just really depends. Not so much on him, because looking at these photos from just a day out, he looks very, very good. He looks sharp. He's definitely going to come in shape. He's just going to wonder on what the judges are looking for. You're going to have people like Angel Calderon and Ahmad Ashkanani. You're going to have those guys battling probably for that 1 and 2. And that's going to set a precedence of mass monsters in the 212, at least for this show. So depends on what the judges are looking for. He could do very well in this show, placing maybe in that top 6, top 8, or he could get overlooked and fall to that 12, maybe 14. Hard to tell. Next competitor, as we got a couple left, is Haitham Sadiq. I'm sure I butchered that one. And the last time we saw him was at the Legion Sports Festival, but not this year. I think it's been a couple of years at least. Great legs, tiny midsection, fantastic upper body. Honestly, it could be a dark horse depending on what kind of conditioning, what kind of improvements he's been able to make in the offseason. We can look at a most recent Instagram photo, and it definitely looks like he's in shape. I'm just not sure about if he's been able to put on a lot of size, especially in the upper body. It looks very mainstream, looks very streamlined. But again, kind of talking about Haitham, or about the guy before, really going to come down to what the judges are looking for. It looks like Hatham Sadiq, he's bringing fantastic conditioning, great separation, great set of wheels, and a smaller, compact upper body. So again, going to be one of those physiques that's going to be interesting to see what the judges are. It looks like he is going to be coming in here. Daniel Sticco, fantastic physique. Well, actually, it says right here he's an IFBB world champ since 2013. So definitely not the guy I'm thinking of, but fantastic physique. Great conditioning, tiny midsection, very full. Like everything that you think about 212 is this guy. I'm just not sure if the judges are going to go for the mass monsters or not. I could see him as high as maybe 8th place. It just really depends on what the judges are looking for. As I keep saying, back to back to back. Like, Sanj, put some stuff in here. The last guy, as we conclude, Samir Troudi. I love this guy. He's so cool. He's a lot of fun. He recently was a hostile athlete, but because of just everything that's going on with the craziness, he wasn't really able to promote it. Being from North Africa or the United Arab Emirates, I saw on one scorecard, and I saw North Africa on the other. So who knows where this guy's at, but great physique. I loved what I saw from him at the Indy Pro this year, but he's been really off on the conditioning. So I don't have him in a crazy position for this show. I really wanted to put him in that top 6. It's just, if I'm going to go off history, the conditioning hasn't been there for Samir, and it's unfortunate because I think I'm rooting for him. I think a lot of people are as well. Great physique, and we look forward to him nailing it for another pro show. Now, guys, that'll do it for my 212 coverage. Appreciate you checking it out. I appreciate you watching all the way to the end. It really helps with the algorithm and the powers that be in the Google atmosphere. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. We have lots more coverage coming out for the Romania Pro Fest this weekend, so stay tuned for that coverage here on the Bodybuilding News Network. I will be hosting it, as always, your boy Sanj. Thank you so much for watching.